Hello ladies, gentlemen, and persons in between. My name is Tim Snowboard, and today we're going to be talking about pride parades and various history months on this episode of Serious Issues. So, last month was LGBT Pride Month. Did you know that? Of course you didn't. I'm kidding. I didn't know last month was LGBT History Month either. I knew about Coming Out Day, and I knew that LGBT History Month was a thing, but I didn't know that it was last month. And it got me thinking about why we have LGBT History Month and Pride parades and so forth. It reminded me of a phone call that I had with my dad. I called my dad once. This was when he was living in Portland, and there was a lot of noise in the background, and I was like, "Dad, what's going on? I hear music and people cheering. What's happening there?" He's like, "Oh, sorry, son. I just got off work and I'm walking down the street. There's a parade going on where they're celebrating perversion." Perversion? What are you talking about? Well, it's a parade celebrating abomination, son. Abomination? What? I don't understand. It's a pride parade, son. Oh, Dad. Yeah. And, what I'm about to say, I'm not, I definitely am not trying to say that LGBT should be ashamed of themselves and should hide their light under a bushel, so to speak. And I'm definitely not, I'm a hetero-cis white male. I'm not trying to give advice to an oppressed group whose suffering I know nothing about. This is just sort of a thought that I have about these things, and I've marched in pride parades, by the way, as an ally. So I can't criticize too much, and I'm not really trying to criticize. That's not my point. It just seems to me that if you want to get people to accept you, you have to highlight how you and they are similar. You have to find common ground. You have to be like, you like baseball? I like baseball. You hate waiting in line at the DMV? I hate waiting in line at the DMV. You thought the Big Lebowski was overrated? I thought the Big Lebowski was overrated. Oh my God, you're an actual human being, not just a stereotype I built up in my head. Putting on a pair of buttless chaps and a banana hammock and hip thrusting on a float featuring a rainbow-colored pegacorn with a huge boner doesn't seem like the kind of thing that's going to endear you in the hearts of rural white sod farmers in the Midwest. And maybe that's not what you're trying to do. I think the point of pride parades is to say, this is who we are, get used to it. And I understand that, they should get used to it. But saying this is who we are, get used to it, seems like kind of an aggressive message. And it has to run counterproductive to the goal of getting people to find common ground and accept you, which again leads me to believe that that's not the point of a pride parade. I think we're all agreed here that sexual orientation and gender identity should be non-issues, and when something is a non-issue, you don't really talk about it or make a big deal. And when I say don't talk about it, I'm not telling you don't talk about it, but when I say you don't talk about it, I don't mean I don't mean that you should keep it hush-hush and just, again, hide your light under a bushel or whatever. That's not what I'm trying to say. I just mean you don't dwell on it. There have been a couple of movies like Boondock Saints. Remember where we found out that Willem Dafoe's character was gay and then the movie just moved right on? There needs to be more of that. That's the way non-issues should be treated. It should be, hey, my wife and I are having a barbecue this weekend. You want to stop by and bring your wife? It's husband, actually. Oh, my bad, husband. You want to bring your husband by for a barbecue tomorrow night? Yeah, I think we could do that. What time? I would say about 7. All right, should we bring anything? We'll handle the meat. All you need to bring is like a side dish or hors d'oeuvres or something like that. Okay, yeah, I think we could swing that. We'll be there. Great, see you then. That's how a conversation about a non-issue should go if it's addressed at all. That's how it would go in a perfect world. But I understand that this is not a perfect world. We don't live in that world. We want these things to be non-issues, but they aren't non-issues. The reason we have LGBT pride parades and LGBT History Month is because for a long time, being gay or transgendered was considered a mental illness. And honestly, if you're the kind of person who's complaining that we have LGBT Pride Parades and LGBT History Month, you probably still think it's a mental illness, don't you? LGBT people are still, to this day, assaulted and murdered and discriminated against in the workplace and in businesses and in schools and you name it. The reason we have Women's History Month is because women are still not paid as much as a man for doing the same job. They're still expected to know their place in some circles. And then, of course, there's the epidemic of sexual assault and rape, as we've seen highlighted in recent weeks. The reason we have Black History Month is because for literally hundreds of years, they weren't even considered people. They were considered livestock alongside horses and cows and sheep. They are still discriminated against in the workplace and housing and businesses. They are still murdered just for walking down the street. And it seems there's no acceptable way for them to protest any of this. So the trend here seems to be that when you treat a group of people as less than equal or even less than human, you wind up celebrating their accomplishments by way of compensation. They shouldn't have to promote their achievements and highlight all the ways in which they've made our world a better place just to prove that they are worthy of our esteem, but here we are. It's almost as if we should have treated them as equals from the outset. Maybe if we hadn't spent so much time and effort and violence making a big deal out of things that should be a non-issue, we wouldn't need to set aside a special month to hear about what valuable members of society they are. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to leave this. What do you think? Do you think the reason we have pride parades and various history months is because we spend so much time oppressing these people? What do you think is the point of a pride parade? Is it to get people to accept you, or is it to say this is who we are, deal with it? Do you think we'll ever get to a point where orientation, gender identity, and race will ever be considered non-issues? Thank you very much for joining me for this conversation. I hope you liked it. If this is your first time on my channel, I would love to have you subscribe and join me for future conversations and check out my previous videos for more. If you were an existing subscriber, I've noticed I've picked up a few of you since I talked about Mueller a week or two ago. Thank you very much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. I look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments below. Good talk, guys. Catch you later.